Hey Morgana, I don't got any cash. Can I borrow a 20? Hey everyone, welcome back to more Persona 5 Royal. I'm SlayerMathis, and last time we found out that our student council president Makoto is capable of getting herself a persona, and this time, well, we're still recovering a little bit, but we could still do some more things, can't we? I think so. If I could actually... No, I wanted to read. And, actually, I really do want to get my kindness up, though. That's the thing. I don't remember what movie we have rented. Proficiency. I'll take proficiency.
There's sulfur leaking from the tank! We need to do something fast!
It's fine. I'll just use this chocolate. See? The acid and the sugar are reacting.
Story about a man who never gives up, beating all odds with science and ingenuity.
Wow!
Fix the tank's crack with chocolate? How does he stay so calm at a time like that?
Hey!
And we get a little bit of proficiency, which proficiency, not really something we need right now,
Well then.
but it is one that'll be important for me specifically later. Just because of one confidant later.
Motorcycle-shaped persona, huh? You know, I can turn into a car too, so it's like I feel a sense of familiarity. No. I'm supposed to be human. Well, motorcycles are nice too, but it can't carry large numbers of people. I really am special after all. Huh? Carry? No. Take somewhere? Something just crossed my mind. It's no use. I can't remember it all. There's nothing I can do about it if I can't remember. I need to concentrate on Kaneshiro for now. Unlike you guys, Makoto's clever, so we can expect great things from her. But man, you really do have something special. Looks like I better step up my game too.
And at this point, we get Magician rank 4. Or if negotiation with an animal type shadow fails, we try again. It's okay.
Alright.
I know. After we deal with Kaneshiro, I should consult her about mementos too. I'm sure Makoto's brain can... Hello? We got Yusuke, and now Makoto. This guy has quite the luck. Could there be some reason for it? Nah, that can't be.
I'm sorry for asking you here like this.
Oh no, it isn't a problem. I actually find it refreshing to be asked to the student council room, although it's somewhat nerve-wracking as well.
I think I'm a bit nervous myself. Anyway, I wanted to apologize. I'm really sorry for everything.
What do you mean?
You know, how I blamed you for Kamoshida's sexual harassment? Well, I wanted to apologize for that. I've honestly been meaning to this whole time.
Takamaki-san.
I realized later that Shiho was calling out for me, and I wasn't there to help her. I didn't want to admit my own guilt. So I took it out on you, Nijima-senpai. I'm very sorry.
Hey, there is no need for that. In fact, I think the two of us are pretty similar.
Huh?
I was unable to save anyone. Not Suzui-san, and not any of Kaneshiro's victims. I kept telling myself I wasn't at fault because I was simply following orders. But that was all a lie. It felt like I would be admitting my own worthlessness had I not shifted the blame off of myself. Fear of that worthlessness was probably why I acted so harshly toward you and your friends. I'm deeply sorry as well.
I see. In that case, wanna call it even?
Even? You're right. How about we leave this conversation in the past?
Mm-hmm. Oh, but one more thing. You're not worthless, Nijima-senpai. You were a bit reckless, but you're the reason we found a way into Kanashiro's palace. And you even obtained the power to change people's hearts. You did that all yourself, Nijima-senpai.
That way of thinking is very much like you, Takamaki-san. When you confronted me about Suzui-san, I realized how dishonest and small I was. You're always very direct. That's what helped me finally realize the error of my ways. It turns out I'm a little slow on the uptake at times. Hey, can I call you on?
Yeah. I'm going to do the same. Makoto. Ah, that's so embarrassing.
How about we get something to eat before we go home for the night?
Oh, I know a place. There's a crepe shop at Central Street that totally stuffs their crepes.
Do you want to split one?
Let's each get a whole one, and then we can go half and half on those.
Oh, yes, let's. After school today, right?
I realize this is a mite late, but how shall I refer to you, Nijima-san? I believe some courtesy should be shown to those who are our senior. Oh yeah, you should call you like Nijima-san or like Nijima-senpai. And to be formal, just treat me the same you would anyone else. Alright. That would not be rude. I need to just call her by her name. For real? Something happened? It's between us girls. Damn, this sounds like fun. All of you may call me by my first name, no need to hesitate. Very well, do just that.
Hey, are you listening?
Pay attention, that's what I listen when someone's talking to you. But, because we have, I believe it's Proficiency 3, instead, when he does that to us, we gain 2 Charm. It's very nice. Very nice little thing to add.
Okay.
And we got our mission start, which means, of course, we're going right there. Want to take care of things as quickly as possible.
Eureka! Curious, huh? Well, I've come up with a super cool idea. Lady Ann will surely swoon for me if I...
Sorry for the wait. So, what's up, Morgana? From what?
Well... it's something I've been giving a lot of thought lately. Now that we've all gained some experience in battle, I think it'd be good for us to work on our finishers.
Our finishers? Yeah. I guess if we're going to keep fighting, we ought to do it with style.
Right? Right? So I came up with just the idea. It's maybe my best one yet, and we can definitely pull it off if you play a part in it, Lady Ann.
Me? Well, okay. What do you need me to do?
Now that's our Lady Ann. Quick on the uptake. What I had in mind was... and that should do the trick.
Really?
So is that a no?
Well, it's not that I don't want to. It's more like, isn't your idea sorta impossible? Even in the metaverse? Huh? What was that?
Sup?
I never imagined that I would end up helping the Phantom Thieves. Things would get interesting if my sister ever found out.
There's no time to be getting sentimental here.
Yes, I understand. I do have one request about all of this, though. Can you teach me how to be a Phantom Thief? Like, about the metaverse, for example?
Simply put, that world is formed of a person's cognition. There you can change people's hearts.
Yeah, I've gathered that much just from going there once. But the method of transportation still eludes me. I mean, it's a smartphone navigation app.
You only need a name, a location, and a distortion. After the first entry, the palace is bookmarked.
You really just make it sound like an ordinary app. Aren't there any dangers associated with it?
Don't worry about that. We've already been a bunch of times and...
That's not what I mean. It's a navigation app, right? Couldn't someone easily access our history on the server? Wait, why are you looking at me like that? Has nobody thought of this before?
Now she's catching me off guard, too.
And we don't know where it came from, right? It showed up on my phone without any input from me. Do you know anything about it? What?
I don't fully understand, but I don't think we have to worry about people accessing our data. From what I can tell, this app is incredibly special. It wasn't made by any ordinary means.
True. An app that allows you to enter another world isn't exactly commonplace. Well, Sis doesn't know who the Phantom Thieves are, so I suppose our information is safe for now.
We're still learning things ourselves. I hope your sharp wit can help us with that.
Thank you. I'll do my best. More importantly, we need to stop him from releasing those photos. If the public gets a hold of them...
I could only imagine what would happen then.
Come on, we just gotta take care of him before the time limit. We'll bounce back from this. Plus, people will really start admiring us if we can manage to take this bastard down.
Yeah, this is the perfect opportunity. We have to succeed no matter what.
All right.
Alright, so we got our stuff set up.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go and infiltrate. And it sounded like Morgana had some weird plan going on, but we'll find out what that's all about later.
So what am I gonna be called? You all were using code names, weren't you?
You're quite perceptive.
This time's a hard one. Maybe something like, shoulder pads?
Why in the world did you focus on that?
I refuse to be called that.
What about Ryder?
Sounds too much like a smuggler. Next. Fixer? I'm not a mastermind, though. Next. Won't you give me something better to work with?
She reminds me of an empress. You got anything, Joker?
Whoa, I totally see it.
It fits so well that I'm at a loss for words here.
Queen. It has a nice ring to it. I like it. Let's go with that. Now then, could you explain to me the strategy for this mission?
Strategy?
You don't have one? Wait, the Phantom Thieves were acting without any plans?
We pretty much look around the area. I provide navigation when needed. And then,
If we run into Shadows, we beat the shit out of him.
Very well then. I feel like I'll be useful for sure. Seems my role is to be the brain of this team. I'll analyze Mona's information and give out orders. Any objections?
None, Queen!
I bet Skull's definitely the type that'll be under a girl's thumb.
Mona, will you begin navigating us?
yes, Queen!
Him too, it seems. Indeed.
So we won't be able to use the same method, but we got some other things that we'll be wanting to do. Is this the team that I want? I think so. Kodo's level 21, so a little bit ahead of Ryuji, Morgana, and An. They will eventually catch up, don't worry. But yeah, so one thing that I initially did have a little bit of a problem with is that it seems like Makoto is a little bit too competent. But then I just realized that's because everyone else is an idiot. So, yeah. What the hell is this? Seems like they didn't want to leave that gaping hole. Can't get in now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Joker.
Gotta go and find another infiltration point, unluckily. This golden piggy. I feel like draft comes from underneath the statue. It is a weird statue.
Whoa!
Hidden passage. And we can just head in right away, I think. Yeah, let's do that. And yes, I do have my notes on Johanna. Let's say, given this interior design, we are inside the bank. Seems our plan went well. Gotta go and find a map first, but first, I want to go and talk about Johanna. As I had mentioned briefly, with the little bit that I had that wasn't notes.
Hold on a second. What is that?
A shadow in the shape of a dog. It seems this place has its own watchdogs.
I don't like the looks of this.
You mean because you're a cat?
Hell no! I mean, it might be able to sniff out intruders or hunt us down super fast. But if it does end up making trouble for us, that could actually work out in our favor. We'll have a chance to finally show off our surprise finisher!
Sorry to butt in. We've been spotted.
Not bad. But love always burns the brightest when facing down an opponent like this. Panther, I think the moment's finally arrived. It's showtime! Huh?
You want to do that right now? Jeez, fine. Here we go.
Ready to go!
New to Royal is Showtime. Showtime is an incredibly powerful attack, and it kind of just randomly comes up.
Let's do this!
Doesn't cost any HP, doesn't cost any SP, and again, it is one of the strongest attacks in the game.
Ultimate power! This is how I really feel!
Thanks. You have such good taste. Yeah.
Get a load of this! Perfect!
Get a little bit of a cinematic, and it's, I mean, it's nifty, and also the game really does not want me to talk about Johanna.
This is amazing!
What was that just now? It's when you guys figure out how to do something like that? It's simply the fruit of our secret, passionate training. Yeah, I guess we did put some effort into it. So I'm surprised it went so well. Oh, you know what it could have been? It was because that thing Jose gave us, that star-shaped thing. I think it even gave some kind of twinkle back then. Oh, you mean when I told you about our team-up idea? So in other words, the star, I guess we'll call it, reacted to Mona's wish to fight alongside Panther. Wish-granting stars. If that's truly the case, we're just encountering one strange phenomenon after another. I don't really get it, but what I know is if Mona and Panther can pull that off, can't we do it too? That'd be sick.
This?
Hey Fox, mind trying to come up with one of those badass moves of our own? Call it like Art Run or something. Well, quit giving me that look.
This is...
What I do get is that when we use these stars, we'll be more ready than ever for our battles. So yes, just at certain points in time, just throughout the game, you'll learn more of them. And yeah, I'll start talking about Johanna. So Johanna, as I mentioned last time, was based off of Pope Joan. According to legend, Pope Joan is the only female pope to ever be elected. However, this is a little bit contentious, but we'll get to that in just a moment. Pope Joan was elected pope in 855, and she held it for 3 years before dying either in childbirth or being stoned to death following childbirth. Nowadays, this is not really accepted much as fact. This is kind of just seen as only legend, but that really only came up in around that really only started coming up around the 20th century. So it was first mentioned by name. Let me check. Okay, I think I actually do have a little bit of... Okay, never mind. I do have this right. So, first time that a female pope was mentioned was by Jean de Maillet, and this was in the 13th century, writing about a pope in the 800s. Really, the way that it became famous was through Martin of Opava, who changed the date from... Oh, sorry, okay, never mind. So Jean de Maillet had mentioned it was in 1099. Eventually this was popularized by Martin of Opava, who was the first one to actually mention by name this one, and this was back in 855. So according to Martin of Opava's Chronicon Pontificum et Imperatorum, I don't know Latin, Joan was born in Mainz, dressed herself as a man at the behest of a lover, went to Athens, learned a bunch, and then, super smart teacher. Eventually, when they moved to Rome, she ended up being so good of a teacher that after the Pope had died, they elected her Pope. And they didn't figure out she was a guy until she had given birth en route to... It was on a patrol in Rome, or just like, they were doing a procession in Rome. She went into labor. Turns out guys don't give birth. So, there's some weird things with this. So, for a while it was assumed that Martin of Opava's account was entirely wrong. Because there's some weird things. There's Pope John at that point in time, which we'll get into that later, followed immediately by Pope Benedict III, and it really wasn't thought that Martin of Opava was right at all. Technically, Jean de Maillet's account may have been correct due to anti-popes, which were just people who weren't actually the Pope elected by other people to serve as Pope. However, in 2018, there have been 2 monograms, which are just letter symbols, for Pope John VIII, who Pope Joan is claimed to be. So there's some weird things with this. Pope John VIII was around that time, but there's ones that have been, around the time that it could have been Pope Joan. There could have been one, or there was some other ones around the time, about 30 years later, that could have been, that were for this confirmed Pope John VIII. That said, there is actually, just a little side note, there's some interesting things about Pope Johns. So for this one, this will mean that there were 2 Pope Johns. There was Pope Joan, who was, just Pope John because couldn't reveal that she was a girl, and Pope John VIII, the one that is fully recognized. There was also, in addition, Pope John XIV, who was counted twice due to some weird linguistic things. He was mentioned twice, and this meant that Pope John the 21st was actually meant to be Pope John the 20th, but he thought that because of the counting of Pope John XIV twice, then he just decided to make himself the 21st. So, yeah. Weird things about the popes, and Pope Joan is now a motorcycle, just cuz. But, a little bit over time, but I did want to at least get my talking about Johanna, about Pope Joan. So, next time, we'll be continuing our exploration of Kanashiro's palace. So until then, see you guys later.